Was her ministry about God, or was it about Gwen? Gwen Shamblin Lara, who created a Christian diet plan that
asked for a small, divergent group of people to leave other loves behind.
Gwen Shamblin built an empire that attracted devoted followers, immense wealth, and endless controversy. But after her sudden death, attention shifted from her public image to something far more unsettling. As investigators, former members, and curious onlookers looked more closely at her sprawling estate, they uncovered details that few expected, and many still struggle to explain. Hidden behind the luxury, influence, and carefully crafted reputation were discoveries that reignited old questions and sparked shocking new ones. So what exactly was found inside Gwen Shamblin's estate? And why has it left so many stunned? The crash that shocked followers. On the morning of May 29, 2021, what began as an ordinary trip ended in a tragedy that shocked followers of the Remnant Fellowship Church and drew national attention. Among those on board was Gwen Shamblin Lara, the church's controversial founder and creator of the Way Down program. Traveling with her were her husband, actor and pilot, Joe Lara, her son-in-law, Brandon Hanna, and two other married couples who were closely connected to the church. The group boarded the Lara's 1982 Cessna Citation 501 private jet and departed from Smyrna Airport in Tennessee. However, only minutes after takeoff, disaster struck. Witnesses and flight data later revealed that something went terribly wrong during the aircraft's climb. Instead of continuing on its intended path, the jet suddenly entered an unusual flight pattern before plunging into Percy Priest Lake near Smyrna. The crash took the lives of all 7 people on board, sending deep sadness through the Remnant Fellowship community. The news spread quickly, and many people were shocked that so many well-known members of the church were gone in a single moment. Friends, followers, and supporters shared tributes, remembering the victims and the positive impact they had within the organization. Many spoke about their dedication, kindness, and leadership, and the loss was felt widely. In the months after the tragedy, the National Transportation Safety Board began a detailed investigation to find out what went wrong. Experts carefully examined the wreckage, studied flight records, weather conditions, and communication logs. They worked step by step to understand the final moments of the flight and to uncover any possible causes behind the crash. Officials also emphasized the importance of aviation safety improvements to help prevent similar tragedies in the future going forward always. Their findings eventually pointed to a tragic chain of events. According to the investigation, Joe Lara, who was piloting the aircraft, lost control during the climb. The report concluded that he experienced what experts call spatial disorientation, a dangerous condition in which a pilot becomes unable to accurately determine the aircraft's position or movement. This confusion can cause a pilot to unknowingly make incorrect control inputs, often with devastating consequences. The National Transportation Safety Board ultimately determined that the crash was caused by Joe Lara's loss of airplane control during the ascent because of this disorientation. The conclusion brought some answers to a heartbreaking mystery, but it could not erase the sorrow left behind. The tragedy marked a dramatic and unexpected end to the lives of Gwen Shamblin Lara and 6 others, closing a chapter that had long been marked by influence, controversy, and devotion, while leaving behind questions and memories that continue to be discussed years later. What was the shocking discovery found in Gwen Shamblin's estate? Could it be something incriminating? Let's find out. The hidden wealth behind faith. After the tragic 2021 plane crash that claimed the lives of Gwen Shamblin Lara, her husband Joe Lara, and several senior leaders of the Remnant Fellowship Church, Attention shifted from mourning to a deeper investigation into what was left behind. What investigators uncovered painted a far more complex picture of her life, influence, and financial world than many had expected. Reports later published by News Channel 5 and widely shared through Yahoo News revealed that Gwen Shamblin's final estate may have been worth millions of dollars. This discovery sparked fresh debate because, despite her decades-long leadership of a growing religious movement, her will reportedly did not make any direct provision for Remnant Fellowship Church. For many observers, this raised difficult questions about how her personal wealth was separated or connected to the ministry she led for so long. Court papers and property records revealed that Shamblin held control over a wide range of valuable assets. These assets included about 18 different properties, many of which were shared or divided during her 2018 divorce settlement. Together, the properties were estimated to be worth more than $20 million. Some of the most notable properties included her historic Ashlawn estate in Tennessee, valued at around $7 million, and a luxury beachfront home in Destin, Florida, estimated at over $4 million. Investigators also discovered that several of these assets had been placed into trusts, legal arrangements that can make true ownership and control harder to clearly trace. Beyond real estate, Shamblin also owned private aircraft, including a Cessna Citation jet that crashed in 2021, and a Robinson R-44 Raven II helicopter. Together, these aircraft were valued at over $1 million, adding another layer to the scale of her personal holdings. Veteran attorney Gary Blackburn noted publicly that the size and structure of the estate raised important questions about whether these resources were mainly used to support religious work or personal lifestyle benefits. Overall, the records painted a picture of a highly organized and carefully managed estate, where business decisions, legal structures, and personal wealth appeared closely connected, leaving many observers questioning how financial power and ministry influence were balanced across her public work and private life overall story. In response, Remnant Fellowship Church stated that Shamblin and her family had already made significant contributions years earlier. According to the church, around $10 million, along with Way Down Ministries and her intellectual property rights, had been transferred to the church nearly 2 decades before her death. Church representatives also maintained that the congregation did not expect any further inheritance or benefit from her estate. Still, the revelations continued to attract public interest and scrutiny, especially after HBO's documentary series, The Way Down. God, greed, and the cult of Gwen Shamblin brought renewed global attention to her life, teachings, and legacy. What was once a tightly controlled private world had now become a subject of widespread public examination, raising lasting questions about faith, power, and wealth. So, what was Gwen Shamblin's beginnings like? How did her childhood define her path in life? Let's delve into the details of Gwen Shamblin's childhood and career foundations. Early life and career foundations. Gwen Shamblin was born as Gwendolyn K. Henley on February 18, 1955, in Memphis, Tennessee, United States. She grew up in a home shaped by both professional discipline and religious values. Her father, Walter H. Henley, worked as a general surgeon, while her mother, Betty McNeil Lawrence, played a central role in raising the children. Gwen was one of 4 siblings, positioned as the second youngest. She had an older brother, an older sister, and a younger brother, and together they experienced a structured family life that placed importance on faith, education, and responsibility. From an early age, Gwen's life was strongly shaped by the Church of Christ. The church was not just a place she visited, it was the center of her upbringing. Its teachings influenced her daily routines, her sense of discipline, and the way she understood right and wrong. She grew up learning that personal choices mattered deeply and that living a moral life required commitment and structure. These early lessons stayed with her and later became a foundation for many of her beliefs as an adult, especially in how she viewed lifestyle, health, and personal responsibility. As she got older, Gwen developed curiosity about health, food, and how the human body functions. This interest led her to the University of Tennessee in Knoxville, where she studied dietetics. She worked hard in her undergraduate program and advanced to a master's degree in food and nutrition, focusing on biochemistry. This field helped her understand how food interacts with the body at a chemical level. Through her studies, she built a scientific understanding of nutrition, which played an important role in shaping her ideas about health and lifestyle over time and practice eventually. During her college years, Gwen openly shared that she struggled with her own weight. This personal challenge became an important part of her journey. It gave her both academic interest and personal motivation to understand weight control and human eating behavior more deeply. After completing her studies, she entered the professional world as a registered dietitian. She worked as a consultant, helping individuals and organizations understand healthier eating habits. She also served as a faculty member at Memphis State University, where she taught for about 5 years. In addition to teaching, she gained experience working with the Tennessee Department of Health in the city, which exposed her to public health systems and community health challenges. By 1980, she took a major step in her career by starting her own weight control consulting practice. This move marked the beginning of her shift from employee roles in education and government into entrepreneurship. Her work combined science, personal experience, and counseling, focusing on helping people manage their weight and improve their lifestyle habits. Over time, these early professional experiences became the foundation for the larger influence she would later develop in health and wellness discussions. What was Gwen Shamblin's first career attempt that brought her recognition? Was she able to sustain it? Let's dive into the details of Gwen Shamblin's initial career path. Faith-based weight loss movement. Gwen Shamblin's journey into faith-based weight loss began while she was pursuing her master's degree at Memphis State University. During this time, she developed a unique idea that would later grow into a nationwide movement. In 1986, she officially launched the Way Down Workshop, a program that combined spiritual teaching with weight loss guidance. Instead of focusing on traditional methods like strict diets or exercise routines, Shamblin taught that the real reason people struggled with weight was not just biology or behavior, but also a deeper spiritual issue connected to faith, self-control, and one's relationship with God. Her approach was very different from what most health experts suggested at the time. She believed that biology and simple lifestyle changes alone could not fully explain why many people struggle with overeating. Instead, she taught that real and lasting change comes from the heart. According to her ideas, prayer, spiritual discipline, and a sincere effort to follow God's guidance could help a person gain control over natural eating habits. Her first program session began in a shopping mall in Memphis, where she shared her message in a simple and practical way that ordinary people could understand. Over time, this small gathering grew into a structured 12-week program. It was later delivered through video and audio recordings featuring Shamblin herself. Participants were guided step by step, focusing more on self-examination, faith, and obedience to God rather than counting calories or tracking food intake in daily structured spiritual reflection practices each week throughout the entire program journey consistently applied. Interestingly, the program did not require common weight loss practices such as counting calories, daily weighing, or strict food restrictions. This made it attractive to many people who were tired of traditional dieting systems. However, It also drew criticism from some health professionals who felt that the program moved too far away from established nutritional guidelines and recommendations from organizations like the American Dietetic Association. Despite the concerns, the Way Down workshop grew very quickly throughout the 1990s. Shamblin began holding sessions at Bellevue Baptist Church in the Memphis area, and soon other churches and homes started hosting their own classes. The movement spread across the United States at a remarkable speed. By 1994, it was being offered in around 600 churches in 35 states. Just a year later, by January 1995, the program had expanded to over 1,000 churches across 49 states, as well as reaching Canada and the United Kingdom. By mid-1996, it was active in about 5,000 churches, showing how rapidly it was gaining attention, especially in Tennessee. By 1996, the organization had grown large enough to employ about 40 staff members and build its own headquarters in Franklin, Tennessee. Shamblin also began hosting an annual summer event called Desert Oasis in the Nashville area, which brought together many participants for teaching and fellowship. By August 1998, the program had reached more than 250,000 participants and was being taught in over 21,000 classes across Europe, Canada, and every state in the United States, marking it as a widespread and influential movement. What gave Gwen Shamblin the fame she had before her death? What challenges did she face alongside? Let's dig into the details of Gwen Shamblin's rise and challenges in her sojourn. Rise, conflict, and controversy unfolded. In 1999, Gwen Shamblin established the Remnant Fellowship Church in Franklin, Tennessee, presenting it as a place for believers seeking a pure form of Christian faith and disciplined living. As her influence grew, so did the church. By 2004, the movement had expanded enough to justify a major physical presence. A new, large church building was constructed on about 40 acres of land in Brentwood, Tennessee, land that Shamblin herself had purchased. This move symbolized not just growth in membership, but also the consolidation of her teachings into a central, visible institution. However, not all of her teachings were widely accepted. On August 10, 2000, Shamblin sent an email to her followers stating her belief that the doctrine of the Trinity was not based on the Bible. This position sharply divided opinion within Christian circles. Many evangelical groups reacted strongly. Several churches withdrew support for her weight loss and discipleship programs. Thomas Nelson Publishers canceled plans to publish her upcoming book, and she was removed from influential platforms such as the Women of Faith Network. Around the same time, some staff members also chose to leave her organization, signaling growing tension and disagreement. Over time, critics began to raise deeper concerns about the nature of remnant fellowship itself. Shamblin taught her followers that they should direct their money and loyalty primarily to her church, which she described as the only true church. She also criticized other churches, suggesting they were not genuine in their teachings. Because of these strict beliefs and the strong control the church appeared to have over members' lives, some observers began comparing remnant fellowship to a cult. After Shamblin died in 2021, leadership of the church was initially passed on to her children, Michael Shamblin and Elizabeth Shamblin Hannah, who both pledged to continue her mission. However, this unity did not last long. By November 2021, Michael had stepped away from the church entirely, leaving Elizabeth as the sole leader. His departure marked a significant shift in the organization's internal dynamics. In later years, Michael became increasingly outspoken. During a February 2024 interview, he publicly described remnant fellowship as a cult, adding weight to earlier criticisms. By November 2025, he went further, comparing the church's behavior to Scientology and alleging that current leadership had engaged in harassment, stalking, and threats against both current and former members. These statements added a new layer of controversy to the already complex and debated legacy of the organization. What was Gwen Shamblin's life outside fame like? Was her relationship life in any way affected by her fame? Let's take a look at Gwen Shamblin's personal life, a life of relationships and change. Gwen Shamblin's personal life went through many deep changes over the years, touching her family life, her relationships, and even where she chose to live. Her journey reflects a story of long commitments, major turning points, and new beginnings that unfolded across several decades. She first married David Shamblin in January 1978. Their marriage lasted for many years and became a major part of her early adult life. Together, they built a home and raised a family, welcoming 2 children into their lives. As time passed, their family continued to grow through their children, and they eventually became grandparents to 9 grandchildren. For a long period, this marriage formed the steady foundation of her private world, even as her public influence and leadership began to expand. However, after about 40 years together, things changed. In 2018, Gwen Shamblin made the decision to file for divorce from David Shamblin. This was a major and emotional turning point in her life. It marked the end of a very long chapter and opened the door to a new direction that few people expected. After so many years of shared history, this separation naturally drew attention and marked a shift in her personal identity and future choices. In the same year, her life moved quickly into a new romantic phase. On June 23, 2018, she became engaged to actor Joe Lara. The timing of this engagement, coming shortly after her separation, attracted public interest because both individuals were already known in different circles. Their relationship developed rapidly, and it soon became clear that they intended to build a new life together. Later that year, on August 18, 2018, Gwen Shamblin and Joe Lara were married in a ceremony held at the Remnant Fellowship Church. This wedding was not just a personal union, but also a blending of 2 families. Through this marriage, Gwen also became a stepmother to Joe Lara's daughter from a previous relationship. It marked another new beginning, as she stepped into a larger and more complex family structure. Beyond her relationships, Gwen also made important choices about where and how she lived. In 1996, she purchased a historic estate known as Ashlawn in Brentwood, Tennessee. This mansion, built in 1838, carried a strong sense of history and tradition. It was more than just a house. It represented heritage, stability, and legacy. Over the years, Ashlawn became closely tied to her identity, standing as both a private home and a symbol of her public life. From marriage and motherhood to divorce, remarriage, and major life transitions, Gwen Shamblin's story reflects a life shaped by continuous change, new beginnings, and significant personal decisions that defined her journey. So, what do you think about the discovery in Gwen Shamblin's estate? Do you really think she should have willed it all to her church? We'd love to hear your opinions in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe.